Hi, my name is Yassmin Abbouchi.
I'm Imirie Billey.
And I'm Sanjana Gangishetty, and our presentation today will be on the overharvesting of marine fisheries.
The overharvesting of marine fisheries is a problem that we are facing all over the world today. Overharvesting means that humans are currently fishing and catching fish at a rate that is higher than they can reproduce, causing a depletion of fish populations.
There are many causes that can be attributed to the overharvesting of marine fisheries, many of which are tied to the economical, societal, or political implications. The main causes of this issue being the growing global human population, bycatch, and illegal fishing. Now I'm going to explain why this is occurring today. Billions of people all around the world rely on fishing in order to provide a stable protein for their meals. Not only this, but for many people, fishing is their job and provides for their livelihood. As the Earth's population is rapidly increasing, as shown in this graph, the demand for this extremely popular food source will only continue to increase, causing more and more fish to be caught every day. This leads to overfishing and for fish species to reach low population levels that will be difficult to return from. Another big contributing factor to overfishing is something called bycatch. This is when fishers who are looking for a specific species of fish or sea animal catch unwanted fish that leads to an unnecessary loss of large portions of many fish, as well as other sea animal populations. Another cause which has a large impact upon fishing populations is illegal fishing. This is when fishing is not tracked and not put into the system. And this case is especially harmful for when it comes to more high valued species, since they're in high demand and will have a large payoff for those who do the illegal fishing. And it's estimated that illegal fishing produces a profit of about $36.4 billion a year for the criminals that partake in it.
The effects of overharvesting is still continuing rapidly to this day, and will continue to be an issue for the long foreseeable future. Not only has there been an observed decrease in fish population and diversity, but also observed socioeconomic impacts and biological changes within different fish populations. It's no wonder that overharvesting decreases the populations of fish that are available, but it also decreases the diversity within these fish populations. This not only impacts groups that rely on fish for consumption, but also impacts the aquatic life dependent on fish within the same region. With a lack of diversity comes populations of fish that are less resistant to changes within their environment and can no longer adequately provide nutrients for the specific populations that depend on them. Another effect that is a result of the overharvesting of marine fisheries is the societal impacts. Like previously discussed in the last slide regarding the decrease in population and diversity among fish, humans, especially in coastal areas, rely on fisheries for their livelihoods. Not only do people rely on fish for nutrition in those regions, but they also rely on certain fish populations to provide incomes for their families. Many groups of people will have to adapt and sacrifice aspects of their livelihood in order to survive these changes in aquatic environments. Another effect, also related to the decrease in population and diversity of fish, is biological changes in fish populations. With the lack of diversity that comes from overharvesting, there also comes a lack of biological diversity in these fish populations. After the diversity in fish has depleted, they will become less resistant to changes in their environment and may also produce smaller and weaker fishes. Because fish are usually harvested by their worth and size, the remaining fish will reproduce generations that are genetically inferior to previous generations. This will, again, affect the populations that rely on these species, human and aquatic life alike.
Overfishing can also go into affect much larger spheres of life within Earth. These spheres include wildlife, environment, climate, and even global and human populations. Overharvesting of fisheries affects many more forms of life rather than just aquatic life. It simultaneously disrupts food webs and marine habitats, especially when human fishing techniques harm coral reefs and other marine environments that aquatic ecosystems depend on as habitats. As related to food webs, a decrease in fish populations leads to many other animals not having access to proper sources of food, impacting the food chain overall. Overfishing has effect on the climate as well. The oceans are the largest carbon reservoirs on the planet, holding in much of the carbon emissions generated by human activities. Having more fish in the ocean allows for more carbon sequestration, the process in which carbon is removed from the atmosphere and held in liquid form, the ocean primarily. Because of the decrease in fish, this will generate a change in the carbon that can be stored in the ocean, and more carbon will be left remaining in the atmosphere. With less fish in the ocean, there will also be a decline in oxygen, as shown in the picture above, since aquatic animals work together to maintain a balance of oxygen in the oceans. Finally, people are affected substantially by overfishing. As human population increases, demand for food also increases. With the decrease in fish populations, many people won't have access to as big of a food supply as before. This will negatively impact the economy, as many people who depend on fish for income will be impacted by the decrease in fish on the market.
This is our bibliography, and thank you for listening to our presentation.